In this video, I'll be showing you how CentreStack, a Dropbox alternative, resolves 8 of the major security risks associated with Dropbox. You'll see why CentreStack has been used by MSPs and companies as large as HP to replace the use of Dropbox with an alternative that combines cloud productivity and mobility with the security and centralized administration inherent with the file server DNA. That is its data, NTFS permissions, Active Directory identities, and centralized administration. Now, before you get the wrong idea, let me just tell you, Dropbox is a great product. This is not a Dropbox bashing video. Dropbox is probably the most well-known consumer-oriented file sync and share service, recently reporting an active base of more than 500 million users. Their data set has become so massive that 90% of it has been migrated from Amazon's infrastructure to their own. They also plan to develop a private file sharing network. In other words, they have become successful enough that building a private cloud storage service and internet makes sense. It's an amazing product that's highly usable. But of course, there's a downside. This pervasive use of Dropbox exposes enterprises to unacceptable security and control risks that are often overlooked or not well understood by employees as they succumb to its compelling convenience. Often, their IT managers or service providers may not even be aware of the extent of deployment or the implied risks. For example, I was recently having a similar conversation with a managed service provider who claimed that his customers had no compelling need for remote access since they left their work at the office. I challenged him to use his remote management and monitoring tools to check how many of his client endpoints had Dropbox installed. To his surprise, more than 20% had installed the productivity tool. He countered that most had probably installed for infrequent or even single use, but then had to agree that the installations represented a risk. Let's review some of these threats and how CentreStack can resolve each and every one of them. As far as data theft is concerned, we have to keep in mind that Dropbox deployments are typically driven by employees. Business owners and IT managers may not be aware when Dropbox has been installed and may not have control over which employee devices can sync corporate information. This makes it much easier for data to become stolen by or shared with the wrong people. CentreStack provides device management and endpoint encryption to address these exact issues. We can protect data on the device when it's become lost or otherwise compromised. CERN recently released a study which observed silent data corruption in 1 out of every 1,500 files. Most businesses trust their service providers to make sure that their data maintains its integrity over the years, but consumer services or consumer-oriented services like Dropbox offer no such guarantees. CentreStack allows service providers to maintain control over customer data so they can check data integrity and even offers the additional protection of policies like the one displayed here to prevent the spread of ransomware. I should also point out that the ransomware preventing policy you see here is obviously based on a behavioral heuristic. In other words, we are not scanning the files to try and detect suspicious patterns. Instead, we are disabling the device when changes from the device are more frequent than would be humanly possible. And of course, we detect and prevent the reporting of false positives from things like doing an Xcopy, for example. Hackers have a lot to gain from hacking Dropbox. Mike Batters, in his article, Why Are People Still Using Dropbox for Business, states, in addition to these security issues, Dropbox has found itself in the spotlight time and time again as its ability to share files so easily has been put to use by cybercriminals. Dropbox public file links are commonly used to deliver ransomware, such as CryptoLocker, and other malware to users. As users see Dropbox as a trusted brand, they are more inclined to click links in random emails, assuming they are safe and genuinely believing Dropbox has somehow checked the files are safe. It's a very simple and highly effective piece of social engineering on the part of the attackers, which works time and time again and should really be driving network security administrators to block Dropbox outright in corporate networks. Dropbox will always have a large target on its back. Mike Batter's article quoted reports of 7 million emails getting hacked in 2014, which Dropbox later denied. Fast forward a few years, and there's an even bigger breach, which has been confirmed by several credible sources, including Dropbox. One scary thing about this announcement is that they knew about the breach and reported it to users in 2012, but did not realize the scope of the attack until 2016. So what? What can Centerstack do about that? Well, one of the best protections against this kind of attack is maintaining a low profile. Right? Centerstack's brandable platform was designed for local and regional service providers and enterprises, which results in far less exposure due to the inherent protections of anonymity. And here you can see highlights from our branding interface, which just shows the kind of attention, the kind of focus we've placed on making the product very channel friendly and oriented towards smaller service providers. When it comes to data ownership and location, platforms like CentreStack offer self-hosted software that maintains data ownership and lets you control where it is stored. This can be extremely important for customers who are required to or prefer to keep their data within a certain geographical area. For example, many European customers need to guarantee that certain classes of data remain in their home country or in the European Union. Dropbox is unable to provide those kinds of assurances. CentreStack admins can create tenants and team folders based on any choice of storage location. Dropbox allows employees to permanently delete and share files. This can result in inadvertent violation of confidentiality agreements with third parties or the permanent loss of critical business data. Dropbox also has limited file retention and access controls, which can result in the violation of compliance policies requiring that files be held for a certain amount of time or only accessed by select groups of people. CentreStack has a policy-based versioning system that protects against accidental deletions. Sharing is also controlled by administrator-defined policies. And of course, Centerstack provides auditing and reporting, which prevents a malicious admin or user from making significant changes to the system that might undo or undermine hours of setup time. This is also critical for maintaining compliance with standards like HIPAA, FINRA, Sarbanes-Oxley, etc. And finally, CentreStack maintains access permissions regardless of storage source for team folders. This is important for the maintenance of access controls. So there you have it. We've provided a brief overview of how Gladnet's Dropbox alternative, CentreStack, resolves 8 of the biggest security threats commonly associated with Dropbox. Hopefully, we've also provided an introduction to the broader philosophy of the platform. That is, the combination of file server DNA, data, NTFS permissions, Active Directory identities, and centralized administration with the mobility, productivity, and collaboration features associated with pure cloud platforms. More importantly, we hope you've noticed that those capabilities are no longer dependent on the location of your enterprise data. Please visit our website below to learn more about CentreStack and our philosophy.